Guys, welcome back to our final episode of Unboxed. With today, an absolute legend of the game, Olympic champion, three-time goalkeeper of the year, and just an absolute icon, idol of mine, Maddie Hinch, recently just married. Welcome to the pod.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Very much still got the sun glow from Portugal and many other glows, but I'm here. Oh, yeah, the Irish part of you is like really showing off there.
I know. To be honest, we were saying it's so strange to leave like a sunny place and also come back to a sunny place because now we're back in North Carolina and it's like bloody roasting. So that is an unusual blend that we're just like constantly surrounded by sun. So my Irish freckles are not happy with me, but I'll take the glow. Yeah,
yeah, enjoy it while it lasts because then the winters come there and they're a bit brutal. Yeah. But we're just going to get straight into it. But first, we have to give a massive shout out to OBE for making this happen. Absolute game changers. Yeah, pretty much like we'd be lost without them, to be honest.
Yeah.
So big shout out to OBE Goalkeepers. If you need any new gear, just go and check them out because there's nothing else that you need. Unbox 11. Let's go. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Greatest memory and goal.
Easy one. Very classic answer. Everyone will know this. Obviously, gold at Rio. Highlight of my. I can't really say my life now. I think the marriage might be up there. So very good answer, but yeah, right up there. Like I cannot even explain that feeling to have lived.
I don't even think anyone can imagine what that feels like or looks like apart from watching the video. It's amazing.
Mind blowing.
Yeah.
So,
okay, folks, that's the podcast there at the end. Would you rather make simple saves or one big save at the end?
Yeah, so I think obviously now coaching, I know the answer should be, you know, the simple game is what we're looking for and keep all the obvious stuff out. But I 100% was living for the big saves. Like we're superheroes, in my opinion. We wear the outfit. You got to have those moments because there's so lack of that really in the role. So I was definitely that goalkeeper, but now obviously being a coach hat on, I'm like, make sure you make all the, the boring stuff and make that look very good. So yeah, but for me as a goalkeeper, the big saves as a coach, I'm all for getting the job done properly and doing the bits you should do consistently.
Fair. For now, I will take the goalie perspective because we're all here for the big saves. Like that's what it's about. As long as you're winning. At the end, when you make the big save, then it's fine. If you make the big save and you're already down like 4-0, that it's tough.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't know. To be fair, you wouldn't know that experience. It didn't happen to you very often.
I do.
Only against the Dutch. What is your go-to OBE colorway?
By the end, it was orange. God, I feel like I've been out of it for a while now because I have. But yeah, by the end of it, it was orange. But I was always that weirdo in the red and orange because I was such a nerd with like trying to find like all the extra bits to just make me better. And I just researched like the biggest clash. And apparently red and orange is what the eye sees a lot. And I wanted people to hit me and not the net. So I chose that blend. And not many people follow my trend, totally understand why. But it was, yeah, very much my colourway. And then obviously when the pads changed, you couldn't go the two-tone. I switched into the orange. Obviously got a big love for the Dutch anyway and living out there. So it kind of supposed to be, I guess.
Yeah, it did the job anyway. But did you ever have the conversations where it was like, go black because then they can't, like the strikers don't see you in the goal because they think it's just the net and then you surprise them? Yeah, so many people had, I'm surprised I'm here. So many people try and tell me that, but then I'm also like, nah, I can't do black, it's too warm.
God, yeah, I was terrible in the heat full stop, so that wouldn't have suited me. To be honest, I felt like by the end I was getting some real wild, clashy colours going on. I was all for like the yellow outfits, like you kind of need to stand out there. Like,
yeah.
We are the last hope. You might as well do everything you can to give yourself a chance to get hit. So I don't personally understand the really like duller colours. I don't get it. But everyone's, each of their own. Like it's
each to their own. Yeah, it's the only way to do it. Describe your style in 3 words.
I was pretty aggressive. I think as a keeper, agile and God, why am I struggling so much? Number 3, athletic. Agile, athletic are the same. I think I played a game back when I started that hadn't really been seen. I think now it's very much the game that you kind of have to be willing to get out there and get about, but like it's not the game, if that makes sense. Again, I'll talk like a coach. You don't have to do that, but I was very, I wanted to get off my line. I had to because I just couldn't. I felt when I started the game I was too small, and I was actually told that like I can't just stand there. So I was like, well, fuck it, I'm just going to go for it then. And obviously, only got me so far, and then I had to work out the rest of it. But that was very much like. Put the kit on, felt like I could actually move better with it on. So I wanted to kind of play that style of game.
Fair, I definitely would agree. When I first kind of watched you playing back whenever I was a child, it was definitely like very different, very much like you would have Rachel Lynch, Evie Frank, who would just be them tall stand on the line, and then you were just like Maddie Hinch, bam, gone. She's away.
Yeah, it was definitely different, and it got me in a lot of trouble. And I had to learn that you can only use times for sure. It's why I struggled, I think, so much at the beginning, because also I think coaches like just didn't know what the hell I was doing. But then like the shootouts came in, the games got faster. Goalkeepers are just for me like got to be one of the most athletic people in the team, and got to be explosive and have that in the locker. I think it's got to be there somewhere. It's not that you use it all the time, but for sure it definitely made a name for myself for right and wrong reasons. So yeah, that was definitely my style of the game.
What is your favorite piece of oboe equipment when you were playing?
When I was playing, probably the helmet, to be honest. Especially when I got to get it branded and stuff with Red Boys, well, like that was pretty sick. Like I remember seeing that for the first time. I was like, now this is what it's about. This thing is mega. So the helmet was always a good one. Took a lot of shots to the head, always was fine. Still here today. So grateful to Oboe for designing epic helmets. And I have to say now though, I don't know whether if I was still playing, whether I'd be switching to the new one. Like
That was
I
my
think
next question.
it's growing on me, but I love the aggressive look of the other one. Like it's like ice hockey style. Like for me, it was super aggressive, and again, like I was like, take everything I can to make me look intimidating. So yeah, I'm torn on the new ones. I think they look good on those wearing it. Like most things in life, everyone looks better than me wearing it. I don't think it looks.
No, me either, because I'm like, again, I feel I would look like a bug. Just like this big body, really
Like
small head.
right? It's just like
Yeah.
like
Actually,
that.
that's a good one. Yeah, I understand the purpose of it, and I think there's obviously it's great. There's continual development, and fair play to Oboe for doing that, because the other helmet is pretty class as it is. So to keep going after it, but just we'll see if I get into it. I might be
The
too old to switch.
is unreal. Apparently,
Yeah,
that's like. So I'm sure, like you put it on, you're like, oh my god, I can actually see the ball now. They'd be like, right, I'm wearing it. So
yeah.
probably
My
looking.
only problem, which is probably like the biggest girl problem, how to wear my hair under it, because
Oh,
it's
it's a
like
change.
yeah, it's changed. So it's like the one that we wear is like, I would have mine like gap at the top, like
Yeah,
like big
yeah.
bun, but now it's like more encompassed in.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
So that's
Always
real.
yeah, the low bun. So I don't know if that would have worked. So
Yeah, it's like real problems there. What is your favorite time for playing a match? Or well, what was your favorite time for playing them?
yeah, easy. For me, it was always night games. I remember having some absolute class like playoff games in Holland, where like there was loads of people there. Shock. It was like
Whoa.
yeah, like under the lights. I guess the only problem was that it was like a big wait for the day, but I was a good napper, like pre-game napper, so I could like wake up, not feel like it was match day, go back to bed, and then start. Kind of be like, okay, it's go time. But for me, Friday Night Lights vibes under the lights, good music, great crowd, beers after. I'm all for that. That was it. Yeah.
And it's like the best, whenever it's like a little foggy, misty, and then there's like this real
Yes.
atmosphere going on, and it's a big rival game. Yeah,
Hopefully
complete.
some flares. If the flares came out, I was like, I still love this. To be honest, pretty much only in Holland did I experience that sort of stuff. Very rarely did I have that, even on international stage. And like obviously the environments were so intense and quite packed, and the kids on at halftime. Like yeah, that's why so many of us try and play over there, isn't it?
Yeah, and especially it sticks out where you play, because
Yeah.
also if you probably had the nice side of the kids. Oh, the kids at sticks are ruthless.
Are they?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like literally every goalkeeper that I spoke to that has played there, there's like 14, 15-year-old kids like shouting behind the goal, like
Yeah.
literal abuse.
Yeah.
Abuse.
They get quite close, don't they? Yeah.
That's an understatement. Okay, what is your biggest ick from a field player?
Probably got two. The classic, them just twanging a ball from 2 yards out, huge swing, highly unlikely scenario, not even looking where we are, bosh. That one, and then the other one for me was corners. When you're doing like practicing, like they're doing corner attack and you're on your own, and then the flicker will just flick it down your left side all day, and everyone's like, "Great goal!" And I'm like, "Guys, like you've taken it in about 5 yards further than you probably can. There's no flyer, there's no postie, and I'm stood offset. I'll admit it, I was an offset kind of girl, so it's gonna go in." For me, that used to really like give me the ick for sure. I think that's probably worse.
Definitely fair, because well, I'm also like people that like twat it from 2 meters away. I'm like, are you actually as an international as an international player, do you actually have no other skills?
Yeah.
That's why I've started, like I'm ruthless like that. That's how I've started saying it to my team. But then in corners, again, I can't now because I think I've got the age where I'm like, okay, if you're just gonna go there, I'm out. Like I'll give you a
Yes,
cone or I'll put the bin for you.
yeah, yeah. That's why the other goalie always tries to get in and be the post player, and then kind of ruins the party a bit for them. But I'm all for that as well.
I'm so for that. And then they start complaining that that's not realistic. And I'm like, oh, neither is a free goal.
Sick. I'm like, give him a break. It's tough back there. Again, like
Yeah.
I get to watch it all from the other side now, and it's so funny. I'm like, that was so me.
Yeah. I can honestly imagine it. Okay, who was your goalkeeping role model growing up?
I had a few really. I think I always just kind of looked at who was where I wanted to be. So, like when I was, I guess also like it makes me show how old I am, but like it was quite hard to know who was the top because there was no social media. Like hockey players' names was really unknown, and so it was only really when I broke into the system. I think like my sporting idol when I was younger was probably like a Kelly Holmes type, whoever was visually I could see and watch them doing their thing at the time on TV. And then when I broke into hockey, it was like, oh, who is the number one right now? Like I kind of want to be there, so like that would be my idol. I'd follow them. And then at the time, it was Beth Story, and she was like a mother figure to me. Two totally different characters, totally different style of goalies, but my God, she literally taught me so much about the maturity of the game. And I needed that big time. And then when like I kind of filled her shoes, it was like, well, then who's the world number one? I remember Joyce. Like I think Joyce and I are very similar age, if not, I think I'm older, but she was the best. So I was like, why are you the best? Like I was looking at what she was doing. Like what am I missing that makes you there? So for me, I was always just chasing who was kind of ahead. And so, yeah, that was probably how I always looked at it. I didn't have a specific idol, but those guys played a huge part in like kind of me trying to be better all the time.
Did you find that whenever you actually got to that, so you were three-time World Goalkeeper of the Year, so 2016, 2017, 2018, which is just insane to have that 3 years in a row. Did you find that when you got to that level or that recognition that you were then like, okay, what's next? Or were you happy with like that you finally achieved that?
I found it much easier chasing that than I did once I was there, if I'm honest. I really struggled with then like I think I found a level of like, I've now got to live up to this expectation. Like I got to literally be faultless. And of course it's actually impossible. It doesn't exist. Like, so I really battled a lot of that stuff. I was so privileged to even be seen in those sort of like spotlights or surrounded by this sort of people. But like once I was there, I was like, holy shit, I hadn't prepared for. And I was really a preparer. So I definitely, once you've had a taste of that stuff, I'm 100% like I want it more. It's like a drug to me, like winning medals, awards, like it was. So I really wanted more than anything now to stay there and almost like then prove to those people. And I think that's where I became more about that than myself. And I think up until that point, it was all about like a little personal mission. Like I just so desperately want to prove myself right as a person based off like stuff that had happened through my junior stuff. And then once I was there, I was like, shit, okay, kind of done that. Like, whoa, like, yeah, like now what? Like, actually, now you got to kind of convince everyone that they are right. And I was like, that was not what I needed to do. Like, I got it so wrong. I mean, I could talk to you about that for hours, but like that was a real tricky time for me. But like, wow, to have people put me up there 3 times in a row, like, I don't know if I deserved them all, but like,
Yes.
wow, take it, right? Like, it was I think crazy 3 years. Those 3 years for me, like, probably the most challenging time of my life, if I'm honest.
I can definitely say that one, you deserved it. So never ever think of that. That's just me, probably because I'm like diehard fan. Love the game. Maddie Hinch title. Got the poster on the wall. Anywho, next before I get beat it, what was your biggest learning experience?
The biggest one, God, I had so many. I think it was still probably when I didn't get picked for so my junior career, and I don't think many know this, like I was very much a 2-3 goalkeeper through the age groups, didn't really play in any of the age group stuff. If I did, it was like the odd bit, got dropped. 21s was obviously, it's like, as you know, a real kind of like pinnacle point in terms of if you want to make seniors. And I had Gemma Eibel was her name back in the day, and she was a really talented goalkeeper, like annoyingly in my way. And she was better. And for the Junior World Cup, who is now actually my boss here, Greg Parnham, dropped me. And I actually ended up going to Boston and just like coding things from the tower. We weren't on the bench back there. Like there was literally no role for us. And so I just helped code, and I was called the coder, and I ate too many Lucky Charms and got sent on a run, probably for putting too much weight on and things like that. That was my time. And then off the back of 21s, the centralized program starts. London's here, and of course it's not me that gets the nod as the young goalkeeper coming through. So I was left in that grey area of like too old for 21s, starting up kind of getting the swing of things at university. And I was like, okay, I need to really decide what I want now in life. Like, is this still my path, or am I just going to get stuck into uni and do that thing? And luckily, I decided to make some difficult choices and leave Loughborough, lose my scholarship, and join Leicester and things like that to try again, because I've always believed. I think that's where it comes from with me. It's just this deep belief that this is what I'm meant to do. That was my journey. Like, nothing was going to stop me. So the more people like knocked me down, the bigger, bolder decisions I made. So I think that point in my life was the one where it was like, thank God I didn't just go, do you know what, it's easier to stop, because it is. It's easier to just go, nah, it's not for me. I was meant to do it, and that little chimp that's a very stubborn bugger kept me going. So yeah, that one was a big one.
Well, thank God for that stubborn chimp, because we definitely wouldn't. Well, you never know. That is the thing. It's like you never know.
Yeah,
Choices change so many and so many different routes and paths, and that's what I've found. Or like even talking to a lot of other goalkeepers is they didn't have that easy number one, number one, number one, like the whole way through youth, 21s, like the whole way in. So it's yeah, it kind of shows that you need that challenge or that path to kind of make you decide in a way, am I going to go and do this, or do I need to go do something else?
for sure. And it's like such a unique role in that it's such life on the edge stuff. It's pretty emotionally relentless. Like, you kind of, I think that emotional challenge for me gave me that kind of thicker skin to then deal with the job. Not that I did for many years deal with that well. I think in reality, I only started dealing with it when I was kind of new in my head. I was calling it a day. It was weird. Like, that's the only time I came truly comfortable. It's always been a long-term battle for me to constantly fight these little like demons of like what it is I'm actually trying to achieve and where I'm trying to go. But I'm grateful for sure of the junior process. I'm grateful for those people that said to me, you're too small and you'll never be good enough. And I've had those words come into my head, and the ones that dropped me all the bloody time. Couldn't even get into county. I only went because my mate had to go to Russia for some school trip or something, and they literally ran out of options, and that's why I'm still in goal at the county tournament running around like a crazy person. Yeah, that's literally the story. And then someone saw
No
something.
way.
Yeah, I couldn't get into anything. And someone saw a spark like to my game, and that's like it is like it was my journey. I believe it to this day. It's like where I'm sat now. I think I'm meant to be here. I've always been a bit like that, but it's very easy to change your path based on, you've got to listen to your gut and like what you truly love. And I've just always loved it, and I still love it, even though I'm in a totally different role. I've got a deep passion for that, for the sport. So yeah, funny how life works out.
Yeah, live, laugh, love the game. That's what we all say to make it work.
You have to. You have
Yeah.
to love it.
Okay, last one in the Unboxed 11. How do you stay unboxed? How do you stay true to yourself?
Number one, surrounding yourself with people that kind of ground you, for sure. I've got a huge like friendship group outside of hockey that have stuck by me through thick and thin. Like, I never see them. Terrible on my phone, barely reply to people. Like, I'm useless. I don't know how they're still my friends, but they've always been there, and they've supported me no matter what. They don't really care if I don't win or lose or what they just don't care. They're just my friends. And my family, of course, that's massive. And then I think the biggest one when those guys aren't around to quickly lean on is just trying to always go back to your why, like the why you're doing this. And then for me, I've always been very clear with that in terms of like, one, I love it, and if that stops, I'll stop. And that was the reason for stopping in the end. It just wasn't there for me anymore. But also, like, I've always felt I was on a personal little mission, whether that's come from my family and my dad's military background and watching them and just how they grinded to achieve from so little to so much now. Like, I wanted to be able to live up to that for them. So again, it's just like your why is so important on those dark days, to just kind of pause and go, why am I still doing this? And once that changes, it's very easy to go off on a different path. But whilst it's there, you have that as your anchor, you can go a long way.
How did you come to identifying your why? Because I think that's what a lot of people always say, find your why. Like,
Yeah.
why do you want to do this? But how, if you have someone coming to you who's like, I don't know what my why is, how do I figure this out? How would you recommend or suggest to them, like, to finding their why?
It's a process, for sure. You have to do a lot of self-reflection and kind of stick to, like, you kind of have to learn about yourself first, I think, to truly understand it. And that takes work. I think a lot of people just don't understand how much work it takes to kind of, well, and time. And it's a process, right? You've got to be willing to kind of be a bit uncomfortable to discover who you truly are and your purpose. And that is not easy. If we all did that, this stuff would be a piece of cake, right? But
Yeah.
like you got to invest in the time in this stuff. It's all good just like going out and stopping a ball, but like spend time on the stuff that to others looks so boring, so that you have this deep rooted understanding of who you are and the person you want to be. It goes down to like with my company, one of our like our slogan is like be you, be limitless, because I was very conscious that there's a lot of people that wanted to just be a mini me, and I was like, we do not want a million Maddie Hinches. That's not good for anyone.
That's dangerous.
And if I had stuck to the people that said, you're too small and you come off your line too much, I wouldn't be here chatting to you about this stuff. Like, God knows where I'd be. So I always stuck true to who I am as a goalkeeper. And so, like, that became a little bit more as that identity grew. And then the stuff off the pitch took a little longer. But, like, all that, it's a constant piece of homework. And it's that reflection, because it does shift, but your deep rooted love for the sport, I think most people's whys would be based on that, because there's a lot of highs, but there's a shit ton more lows, if we're all honest. Like the grind, the boring stuff, the behind the scenes. Like you gotta love it to do it. It's not a sacrifice. We make a lot of tough choices in order to do this, but fuck, you get to do it once. So like, if you love it and you believe in yourself, just make the right choice. Because if you've got a chance at anything close to what I've done and to have that feeling, it's 100% worth it. 100%. But it's no guarantee. So I think you've got to live on that understanding that you can do all this and not achieve any of it. But if you know you've given it your best and stuck true to who you are, you'll have no regrets. And I think that's what we all try and avoid, right? In life, just don't regret stuff. Like I could have easily gone, I'm not going to America. That's terrifying. But like I was like, we're gonna go. Like, what's the worst case? It doesn't work. We'll go home. Home's always there. And I've always had that process. Like, take the leap. Just give it a bloody good shot. Stick true to who you are. Worst case, it doesn't work out. Disappointment for sure. But that's life. There's a ton of that daily, right?
Daily. I think honestly that's something I couldn't relate to anymore, because I feel like a lot of what I do is it's very much like, okay, if it doesn't work out, I'll go and try something else. Like I went to America for 4 years, so that I almost left after 3 months because I was like, God, these Americans are terribly annoying. And they made me run, so I'm not sure, they were kind of on par. But then it's like when you actually sit down and reflect and be like, okay, well, what is this actually going to bring me? What is this actually going to help me with? Is it just in hockey? Is it in life? Is it an experience? If you try and look at the bigger picture of the choices that you choose to do, you can have so much more freedom. And I think that's what a lot of people hopefully can come back and learn to realize that. Because if you realize that you choose to do whatever you want, and you choose to go to work, you choose to get out of bed, you choose to play a sport, if you enjoy those choices, then yeah, I think you're gonna have a pretty okay time at it.
For sure, but it's not. If it was easy, everyone would do it, right? And I think the biggest thing that stopped people was just the fear of like the unknown and that like area of uncomfortable. And again, it's like if you look at elite sport, it's pretty uncomfortable all the bloody time. Like if you're not comfortable with the uncomfortable, you shouldn't be in high performance elite sport. And like if it's comfortable, you're literally gonna hit a crossroads pretty quickly and go nowhere. And that's now like again, like in this role here, like it's super interesting trying to get them to understand this. Like it's not meant to be, it's not fun, but it's like it's meant to be pretty tricky most of the time, because also when you're out at war, essentially is what I called it, like you're literally going to war, it's pretty bloody uncomfortable. The pressure, the expectation, the results, the what's on the line, all this sort of stuff, that's all there. So you're trying to create an environment that gets them to like almost enjoy that shit, because like you kind of have to, like, and it's like, and I probably sound like a psycho, but like I kind of was a bit towards the end of my career. Like I chased that kind of discomfort. And I think for the top goalkeepers, you kind of got to like be a bit like, I really love this life on the edge feeling. It's not easy to have that every day. And I had many where it dominated and I got it wrong, but that's your bad game. But when you get it right, oh, like you can find a level to yourself that I think is just like not human. Like it's like I'm actually living in a zone now that I don't think's normal. And that I think is that elite ability to step up. Like when shit hits the fan and you're like, I level up in those moments. That's what I'm trying to inspire these guys. Like find a way to not go like this, but to go, fuck that, I'm going to step up and go to war here. That I love that stuff. And for me, that's always been like a passion to be like, I want to step up in those moments and be the one that can, when things are crumbling, you can rely on me. But that takes practice and a shit ton of work that people just don't see. And a lot of it is here.
How did you realize that you've reached that moment that you were like, okay, I can step up to this, I can do this?
I think it took a while. Like the main thing was the main thing was being like surrounded by people that gave me a chance. I had so many good coaches, but I remember like when Steve Baer came into my life as a goalkeeper coach, he saw my game, and he was always like ahead of the game in terms of where he saw it going. He called it like that ugly zone area, that 5 yard. He was like, that's where the goals are scored. Like people that can dominate that zone. It's 100% kind of my philosophy going forward. I still think you have to dominate that area of the circle. Shots off the top, piece of piss. It's that stuff in there, right? So for me, it's like being surrounded by people that saw my potential, but then allow me to harness that and make it my identity. So it was not a case of, oh, you're quite good at floor work or getting up and down. Like, we're going to make that your super strength. That when people talk about Maddie Hinch, that's what they're going to talk about. But you can also then lean on that, Mads. Like, on a bad day, I'm still bloody athletic. I'm still able to play this style of game, good or bad, because most of the time we're on pretty average days at the office. But if I can keep my average pretty impactful, right, I then know it doesn't take a lot to like one save. And you're like, holy shit, I'm feeling myself creep into a level that like so many would dream to go to, right? So for me, it was like surrounding yourself by those people that saw that potential for you to go to spaces that people can only dream of. And I think for me, when I finally got to be number one, I was blessed with the team in front of me. Like if I look at it, like the stars aligned that I had super experienced backline. Like, if you look at my backline, Krista, Kate, like those guys, like held in front of
Icons.
Alex, like yeah, my idols, like icons.
Literally.
And my job was simply shut up, Mads, just stop the ball. Like that's the 2015 European gold.
Oh
Like
my
just
gosh.
having a whale of a time out there, shot, 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 but like nothing else to think about. Then you got Rio the year after. Like again, look at that team. Like it was in many ways freaking easy for me because I was just having the time of my life, not really having to think about much, no expectation yet. No one knows who the hell you are. Everyone's looking at them, not me. That's to get back to that only came probably 7 years later in reality, where I felt like really kind of like it's not about the rest of this. I just need to stick to the fact I love stopping a hockey ball and make it that simple. So yeah, that was the turning point of being like throwing you in the deep end, but blessed with the team I had to one push me to man standards of myself, but also 100% believed how good I could be, and then along with that self belief, you're like, oh, I could go places where I don't think many could go. And so yeah, crazy time. It's so cool to reflect on it like this. Actually, it's been a while.
Been a hot minute. We'll just like go later and start just like journaling it all down. I'm like, right, okay, she did this, she did this. How did you see the game change throughout your career? So you obviously had we all know a very, very successful, very long international career.
Yeah.
But the game has changed so much. How did you see your game change from, say, the start of that to adapt and evolve with the game that was changing in front of you?
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting is how much my game actually changed. Like if I look at the goalkeeper playing, for example, in that 2015 game in the Europeans, like corners dived for everything. By the
Yep.
end, I barely dive, so that wasn't diving. But yeah, so diving for stuff, really aggressive on the baseline. Like if there was any baseline play, I was gone. Yeah, like just a very different style goalkeeper to then nearly 10 years later, where it was like, yeah, I guess I still had it in my locker, but I tried to wait longer. I tried because I think what happened is the level of the game got so much better that people were a bit sharper on it. Like the game understanding's higher than ever before, and also I'd been on the scene for a long time, so people knew me, right? So I was then challenged by coaches to be like, if you keep doing this, teams are going to figure you out. So I had to evolve my game and then basically bring what was needed in those moments more. So some teams was like, I can go there, like every time I'm just going to go. Or some teams was like, just hold, make and wait, score the good stuff. Like it's actually pretty damn hard to score a goal if you think about it. Like the more you can have that mindset as a goalkeeper, like beat me, but like it's pretty hard to put it in the corners most of the time. If you look at the stats, they'll hit it straight at you. So be that calm presence of just being in the right place, because if you look at the best, and I remember growing up, they didn't do a lot, but they did it so effectively. They were just stood in the right place. But that is game experience. I remember someone saying to me, you won't be any good until you're 27, 28, and you start understanding the game, and they're spot on, because it is a lot of the time just being like one step ahead of what's actually going to happen. So yeah, I've seen a huge evolve with the pace of it. Obviously the shootouts, like again, if the strokes had hung around, I think I'm nowhere.
Oh, none. See,
None.
I think I've literally had, I was talking to someone the other week about this. I have saved 3 strokes in my whole career, and I've been playing international for 12 years. 3.
Yeah. I think I'm less than you. I think I saved one if it was a bloody final, wasn't it, in Rio? And she flicked it straight at me, let's be honest. So thank you.
No, no, no. You made a choice to stay up. I like.
I did it because she put about 400 up there past everyone. I was like, I know where you're going, but still, like, yeah, I was not very tall, am I? But yeah, that I was the same as like, hated them, hated
Hate them. I still hate them.
I can't figure them out. Like even now, it's like you teach me straight, so I'm probably not the girl for that. To be honest, I'm still
No.
figuring it out myself. But yeah, thank God for the shootout because I saw them come in and I was like, okay, this is my game. This is where I'm actually allowed to run around and be aggressive, and no one's going to tell me off for doing it. So yeah, thank God for the rule change.
Do you think that that is one thing that actually put goalkeepers on the map in the game because they could actually showcase what they do instead of what people think we do is just standing in a goal?
100%. I think that's why Rio had such an impact on the position because it gave the game had everything for any goalkeeper that stood there to kind of shine. And like then the shootouts were just like, holy shit, these people in pads, most of them people watching the game weren't hockey people, were like, they move a lot and well, and they can get up. They're just not like flopping around out there like salmon. So it's like, do you know what I mean? Like most people were like, it was amazing to see goalkeeping at that, like, and I was like, that, like everything else aside, like that's me being the true like goalkeeper push. Like, thank God I was the lucky one that got to showcase it. But like, it
Mm-hmm.
was, people were shocked about the position and that superhero status that I talk about. Like, that's what it's about. That's what I want the kids to have their moment of because I don't believe, and I'm now trying to score goals up front for some local team down the road, but it's not the same. I don't
No,
scoring is not the same as that stuff. I think it's so unique and so special. And yeah, Rio for some reason that was meant to happen. The game was meant to go like that, and I was meant to do my thing, and it just was an amazing advert for goalkeepers and what we're trying to do.
because I remember it was I had the Rio qualifiers, obviously not Rio, the qualifiers in Spain, and that was the first
Yes.
one of the first tournaments for it, and we had China in a shootout, and I so like that was why I was brought into the squad because Emma Gray ahead of me, I was obviously a bit more younger, crazier, and mobile than her,
Yeah.
and we went to shootout, but we I did two before against Canada, exact same. China scouted me so well because obviously I'm like this, obviously this like 17-year-old, like no, I'm invincible. They can't score past me, no problem at all. Blah blah blah. But it's even crazy how the shootouts have developed as well because it used to be well, not even it used to be like you could have got away with doing the same stuff because they didn't go to that often, but now it's like there's so much video analysis, scouting, everything. There's way more shootouts that you actually have to be have different styles in shootouts as well, which is kind of fun in a way, learning that.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Like it's a real game of cat and mouse now, and I think like yeah, the more it was the same like after Rio, like no one had seen you, so it was easier to just kind of go out and do that. But then afterwards, like holy shit, I can't win a shootout to save my life right now. Like people know what my plan is. Like I've got to keep evolving, and that's like it's all like that's the game though, isn't it? Like you
Mm-hmm.
constantly trying to add more to your toolbox. Like really, it's a toolbox, and the more stuff. Like don't shy away from not doing hybrid skills because you don't like them. Try and have it in there, even if it's not like if it's a 2 out of 10 in your ability. Have it in the locker because at some point, if you want a long-term successful career, you kind of have to be able to lean on a bit of all of it. And I think to be the complete goalkeeper, you've got to kind of have it a little of everything and your super strengths on top of that, rather than just like because at some point they work you out like and so that's kind of my belief is that you've got to be uncomfortable to try and do the stuff that you don't want to because I certainly couldn't do any of that stuff for a few years and then I look at Tokyo and like my whole shootout game was based on like hybrid stuff and that was not the Rio goalkeeper 4 years before 5 years before so yeah, it's that ability to evolve, but it's a lot of Maddie Paddies along the way. I can't do this. What the heck is this? I just want to run out and tackle her. Like, that's the challenge of the coaches in front of you saying, like, stick with it. Let's put this in your tool because then you face team, you do your scout, and I'm like, hey, if I can get in these sort of shapes, they're going to struggle. But it's a two-way thing, right? They've got to do the same now to work out goalkeepers that are doing hybrids, being aggressive, stay on the line. What are the solutions to beat all these different styles? Because now there's all sorts going on, and it's cool. I love it. I think it's the best thing to watch.
I feel like if there was a meetup of all the goalkeepers, we would be so geeky sitting discussing all of this because we would actually be there for hours.
Hours, yeah.
Oh, probably would have like a whole like couple of day camp. You know what? At Obo, like, can we get on to this? Like, book us a hotel somewhere. Like, just bring us all together.
That'd be epic. I like that idea.
Yeah, we'll save that for somewhere nice. I know some nice tournament coming up. We'll all have a meetup. But you're talking a lot there about how there's all these different styles. You now have transitioned into this coaching role for the US. So you're now
Yeah.
the assistant coach.
Yeah.
What would you tell any young kid who's getting into goalkeeping, or even who is in goalkeeping and wants to know, okay, what do they need to work on? What would you kind of say is like key staples that is needed to become a good goalkeeper?
Yeah, first off, I think you got to be comfortable doing the boring work, right? Like, and again, if I look back, when I first broke into some of the senior stuff, John Hurst, after Steve left, Steve was like all active, and then John comes along. You won't mind me saying this, but I think we did the same three drills for like 4 years, and like lunging, kicking.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I love the guy. He's like a father figure to me. But it was like, wow, really, John? Are we going to do another 4,000 reps of lunging a day and like just kicking and quality, and all this stuff? And like looking back, if I had not had him in my life, I think I would have still struggled to have this like consistency to your game. Because again, now looking at it from a coach's perspective, consistency is massive. It's really hard to select people that you just don't know what you're going to get from them. And in goalkeepers, I think that applies the most, because you kind of need to have a solid foundation in a goalkeeper. And I think if you've got solid roots in your core skills, good footwork, value the contact points, don't just make a save, value the quality in the save. And that's where Martine comes in for me, Martine Driver. Like really late in my career, like, but you're making a save, but if you looked at how you're making the saves, what do you mean? Who cares? No, he cared and made me care. So now it's like the quality of what we're doing as well. Like because we work in millimeters, don't we, as a goalkeeper? Like that's the difference between a save and not. So you got to train in that mindset as well. And now you can't do it all the time. You'd be pretty damn knackered. But like choose points in training where you value not just making the save, but like the quality of what you're doing. So that for me would be my advice to young goalies. The sooner you can implement that nerdiness in someone to be like, I don't want to do top corner dives like I did, but like I would save all the amazing stuff like a sieve through me. That was me as a young goalie. That's why I didn't get picked for shit. And I can see it now, but at the time I was like, but I'm amazing. Do you know what I mean? I was like, but
I can make this save up there.
You dive's not right, but can't kick a ball. So like, yeah, value the mundane. Do the work, do the reps. Don't get bored of doing the same stuff, because it is just a case of repeat. And that's now kind of where I'm at in this coaching position, with the goalies in particular. Like we do a lot of the same, but I also try and create an environment that's fun as often as I can. So I think there's clever ways of like doing the same skill in a slightly different drill. And they like see one slight movement of a cone and they're like, oh my God, it's a new drill. And I'm like, great, got them. Because now they're excited, right? So that's me learning a little bit from some stuff I did have, where I found some stuff was too repetitive and I started to lose my love for it. We're kids at the end of the day. We're all kids at heart in a playground that we want to just play, no more than a goalie group. So the more I can still create that funness to what we're doing, but also keep valuing the quality and challenging them to go after that stuff and like love it, you then start to see the growth. Once they start to see the growth, you got them. And that's kind of now the kind of the challenge with this stuff. So yeah, for me, that's probably where it's at.
Okay, well, first, I hope none of the US goalies are listening, because Maddie clearly put real thought into developing that new drill for you guys. It's really, really good, that cone movement, like, whoa, mad new drills.
Well, they know me too well already.
But secondly, shout out at Martine Driver. That man, whenever I was training with him, he always came up to me, he's like, ball in hands. And you know the way his hair's a bit frizzy, it's a bit everywhere. He's got his funky glasses on. He's very tall man, very, very tall man. So like I'm breaking my neck looking up to him, and he'd always be like, come up, ball straight to the grill of your helmet and be like, what's the dot? And that was it, would just walk away. And I'm like, what do you mean, what's the dot, Martine? And so whenever you were explaining, it's like doing the mundane stuff, yeah, enjoy that simple stuff where you're like focusing on the contact points.
Yeah.
That's what really, that was like a physical thing, like a tangible thing where I could actually, oh, that's what you mean. That's an example of, okay, this is how I train that, where it's like you're trying to find the dot on this hockey ball and it's coming flying at you and you're like, I can't see the dot, it's just a blur. And Martine would just be like, find the dot.
Yeah. The impact it has, right? It's massive. And like you come out of these sessions, you're like mentally exhausted because you're concentrating so hard on like, and I'm like, what, 27 when I come across this guy? Like, I'm late into my career and I'm like, this is a whole new way of thinking. But this is why I was blessed, like to go and do like, put myself in different environments and meet all these amazing people that it's a blend of all of it. Like there's no one coach that has all the answers. Absolutely not. But what I have been lucky was I was exposed to so many different ones that I was able to say, hey, that works for me, that doesn't, or whatever. But for him, that quality piece has stuck with me for a long time. And it's definitely something I know I'm trying to implement as much as I can, because I couldn't believe in it more. And that ability to really see the ball like as smaller. It's like imagine if we could all train with like ping pong balls all the time. Like it would then look like a football, wouldn't it? Like if you think about it, like our eyes are everything, but yet we really don't talk about it that much, but they're everything. And I remember him like just taking a picture of me making a save and my eyes were like here. Because we just repeat, don't we? Like it's just all movement patterns. And when you're kind of 10 years into the game, 15 years into the game, it's like, yeah, I don't need to look. But if you can keep challenging yourself to look where it's making the save and follow it after, it becomes quite effortless. And at the end of the day, goalkeeping is not that hard. It's the rest of it. So yeah, I find this stuff. Yeah, I guess that's why I'm like in this role now. It's not where I thought I'd be, but like I do love this stuff, and I do completely value the importance of this quality piece. And 100%, the more we can get kids to want to be that nerdy, then we'll do all right.
Yeah, we'll definitely get a few, I think, listening to this, like writing everything down in the notebook and like, oh my god, this is They'll be like, they'll be showing up to your camps with like bags of ping pong balls and be like, well, you did say. You signed the waivers. So I've spoken to, I myself have experienced it where you might get this goalie coach who has come in and is like, no, you have to do it this way. This way is the best way to do it. As a coach now, how do you work out with a kid? Say a kid at your camp and they're like, no, but I've been told I have to do it like this. Yeah. How do you try and have that conversation to see, but it's like, okay, well, you can just try it. You can, if it might work for you, it might not, because there are unfortunately some coaches out there who believe that their way is the only way.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard. Especially, I think the challenge I have now is just because like it worked for me, it doesn't mean it's right for them. So it's like, it goes back to that BU thing, right? So I think when I've had that so many times, like my coach said, I do it like this, or like the getting up one, I've got like a personal way I like people to get up off the floor, and someone will be like, oh, but your knee's exposed. So I'm like, well, yeah, if you're getting twatted on the knee, it was a decision, a mistake, not you shouldn't have got in that moment, right? That's why you got a hit on the knee. Yeah. They're like, no, I can't do it. And I'm like, look, is it working for you? How are you getting on with your outcomes? Do you think you could do it quicker? Like, you've got to quickly switch the mindset to give them another option to try. And that, I think, is coaching. It's like, hey, give them more and more like different ideas. And like, I'm just sharing all the stuff I was lucky to get given. Really, like none of this is really my stuff. We all just pass it down, right? So it's like, hey, this worked for me, but have you thought about that? Because just because I could get up that way doesn't mean that someone else can do exactly that. But then that's the challenge of like then going on to try and be a good coach. To be like, okay, well, if they're like this or their super strength is that, how do I adapt what I'm thinking or my views on stuff to then make it work for them? Because I want them to be them. I don't want them to try and be the number one in the place. They've got to be true to who they are and the goalkeeper they want to be. Otherwise, like, you're constantly chasing the person in front of you, and it's not about that. You're chasing your own personal mission. And my challenge is to figure out what that is with them. Because once you buy into that, they believe it more, then they've got the passion for it. If you've got the passion for it and the drive, then we're on to something good and they'll go after it. Without one of those two missing, then they're only going to like kind of put half into it. And I 100% believe to go to that place where you're like trying to achieve the ultimate goals, you've got to go all in and more. You do. And it's an uncomfortable amount of all in. It's like an obsession. Like, and I use that word loosely because people will be like, oh, that sounds mentally unhealthy. And yeah, I'm the first to say I got that stuff wrong at times. But if I didn't challenge myself to go to that darker place, I don't know where the lines were. And I think you've got to, at some point, try and go there and be happy with that risk that you might go too far. But that's what your network's around, to help you when you fall a bit and bring you back to where you need to be. So yeah, that's the challenge now as a coach, to be like, okay, what have I learned? What can I share? But then how do I kind of get the best of that person in front of me? And it's tough. Coaching's tough, for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine. But can you just like come and coach me at this point, like, as well? Can I just like at Dave Passmore, like, just, you know, slide on in, like, I need you.
We have you out here in no time.
Oh, here, I would come out for the crack, like, I'd be so over that. Get my American roots back to me.
Yeah, exactly. You're more used to it than me.
Yeah, good old Louisville, Kentucky. You spoke a little bit about it earlier, how that kind of 3-year period was really tough, and how you just mentioned that you need to go to sometimes that bit darker place to see the lines, to see, is it too far, is it far, like, to challenge yourself. At what point during that period did you realize you were like, okay, I've gone too far, I've gone too obsessive with this?
I think it was people around me telling me. I think I was a bit. There was two parts to it. There was that me being a bit oblivious to the path I was on and like how much I was changing. Then that what we talk about, like your network is so important because I had a few people kind of like challenge who I was becoming, and I was like, oh, that doesn't sound like something I want to be. So I had that, and then I remember like the big turning point for me when I was like, holy shit, I'm in trouble here, was like we were building up for the World Cup in London, the 2018 World Cup. And I was definitely struggling big time beforehand, but I didn't realize the severity of it. And I remember we just played a warm-up match against Germany or someone. I can't remember who it was. It might be Ireland, actually.
No, you beat us 5-0 and then also 5-0 in the shootout. Remember it clear as day.
I can't remember who it was, but I remember being in Lee Valley and I remember going into the locker room afterwards, and I was with Al Dance at the time, who was our captain, and I was like distraught. Like I broke down like to a level that I hadn't experienced in some time, and I was like terrified of playing. I think the tournament was starting like a week later. Should have been again a once in a lifetime generational opportunity to play in a sold out wall of sound. I remember that. Remember that tunnel? Like it was
it was insane.
To the sky, and like this is all off the back of Rio, so people are like pumped. And I should have been pumped, and I couldn't have been less pumped for it. I couldn't have been more scared. I only felt like I could fail unless I went and relived what everyone was saying I was this like superhuman, and I was like pretty much far from that. And that was the moment I was like, I am a shadow of the person that I was a couple of years before that, where belief, like inner belief, was always what I rooted myself on in terms of like, if not you, then who, and a desire to prove that to myself, and that had disappeared. And off the back of that, I was a pretty miserable human, snappy, not nice to be around, just like everything I hope not to be. And the people that you love most take that the worst. And that's when it became like, I've got to do something about it. So that's when I left the game for a bit. I left national stuff, and it was interesting because I was like, it's all GB's fault. Like, you're all the problem. I'm going to run to Holland, and that's my happy place. I'll be good, right? Like that was literally like what I thought was good. And I got to Holland, and I was living, I remember at the time, with Delph Marino, and we were both at Stixer, and bless her, like she was my roommate, and she could not have had a worse time with me around because I just became utterly miserable. And then obviously you then start go see somebody, and they're like, yeah, you're probably suffering with severe depression right now. And that was pretty much what was going on. You need some meds, we'll fix you up, and we'll start. And I was getting there, but like in reality, if I hadn't had those honesty, that there's people, I mean, Delph's one of the most honest people with me, and she's like, face, like, get a grip, girl. Like, and I couldn't explain it. And there's no worse feeling when you're like, I don't understand. But thank God I had some people help me talk, because if I'd been too proud to admit it, I don't know if I'd ever recovered from that. I probably would have just left the game in a real sour way. And in the end, struggled my way through that season, had a real proper break from the pads that helped, started seeing people talking about it, got on the meds, like, and recovered. And it's been an ongoing battle for the rest of my life. I'm honest, it's something that is part of me, I'm not ashamed of it, but like 100% struggle with the emotional roller coaster of life. And that was just something that like finally you hit the trigger and you're like, wow, like this is a horrible place to be. But now I know the signs and I'm quick to go, I'm not good. Like Bren's the first to say something, or I'll tell him or whatever. And it's like, we get through this together, because I think everyone's got a bit of it. It's just your ability to manage it and be comfortable with it, I guess.
Yeah, I think thank you for sharing that. I really, really appreciate it. And I know I've spoke to you before about this, because I was kind of in the similar boat where it was like I ended up, whenever I took time out of the pads, I felt I could only do that because I'd seen you do it. Because it was like, if I step away, then I felt that that was me done. I was leaving the program. I didn't have anything else. Like hockey was my life. Hockey, like goalkeeping was everything to me. And then it was kind of like, okay, whenever I seen and heard some stuff about you stepping away and working on yourself, then it kind of got to the point where I was like, I need to sort myself out, because I was kind of the same. Well, not the same. Everyone is their own situation and has their own stuff going on in the background. And ultimately, it's like a lot of the time we use our sport as like our safe space. But then when that goes, then all hell goes loose. But we were playing. It was like the European qualifiers in Dublin, and it was like Czech Republic, Poland, and someone else. And I couldn't even play. I was bawling, crying after the games, and I'm like, I'm not a crier. Like I'm a rock.
There you go.
Don't do that. But then during that tournament, I was just like, I can't do this. It was just after the World Cup in Amsterdam, and I was just like, can't do this, can't handle this anymore. If I'm crying after a game, I'm like, something's not right. If I'm yeah, it's like if I'm scared to play against, I'm not going to put any of the nations down, but like if I'm scared to play against Poland or Czech Republic, then I'm like, okay, there's something seriously wrong with me.
Yeah.
But it was honestly like, and I've said this to you before, it's like whenever I seen you do that and like how you manage that, that was what kind of gave me, I don't want to say the confidence, like to see the possibility that it is possible to step away and still come back in.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like nothing is worth unhappiness. Like it's just like at the end of the day, it is just hockey and it is just sport. Like there's so much beyond it. And but I was exactly the same. Like for me, it was my world. It was all and it felt like it was all I had. In many ways, I had so much more. But like for me, it was my identity. It was everything. So without it, what would I do? But I remember thinking, if I don't do something, I'm not going to have it anyway. Like it's going to go. Like they'll end up dropping me, or I'll get kicked off for being just a dick. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, literally.
right. So it's just like I was like, I want to, I want to be a good human first. Start with that. Like, let's get back to that, and then the love will come back. And if it doesn't, I'm okay with it because maybe I'm done. But I need the space to figure the bloody thing out. But it's hard, especially when you've worked so hard to be a number one. I knew stepping away 10 months, 12 months, however long it was going to take. I'm giving someone else the chance to go and do that. But I was like, I'd rather do this and then what will be than not do it. And that goes back to that ability to just kind of make bold choices and live with those decisions. You've got to have that a bit in you in life. Otherwise, like you constantly sit in those kind of safe places and you never know what you're really, because now that side of me is still very much there. Like I've actually probably had it most of my life, but like now I know how to manage it and I'm really comfortable with it. Whereas before it was like, I hate myself for this. I hate this version of me. And it's who you got to love you to start with. It's got to start with this like dinner. Like I am who I am. I'm not trying to be anyone else. It's not easy. If it was, everyone would manage this stuff well. But again, it comes back to like just surround yourself by good people who are willing to challenge you and have those uncomfortable conversations. Because without them, when you're stuck in your own head, oh my god, darkest place to be, isn't it? Like
Oh,
darkest.
you could be in the you could literally be sitting in Disneyland, like surrounded by dogs.
Yeah,
But if you're literally stuck in your own head, like you don't
horrible.
see it, it's a horrible place to be. And for anyone listening, if you are struggling with anything like that, just find someone. It can literally be anyone that you feel comfortable talking to. Find them and ask for help, because once you do, it's tough. It's not easy whenever you do it, like, but it's so worth it. It is
And
so
it's
worth
that
it.
saying, it's not okay. It's okay to not be okay. It couldn't be more true. As corny as it sounds, it could not be more true. Like it's okay. No one's perfect. Like stop trying. We're all trying to be, and I think that's just the generation we're in now, especially with like social and stuff. Like we
Mm-hmm.
all see, especially with my stuff, like everyone just sees all these bloody highlights of saves and shit. And I'm like, that's so not the reality.
No.
So it's a funny world we live in. So the more people can just talk and be honest and be happy being who they are, the better world we'd be in for sure.
Preach. Love that. Amen to that. We'll get the whole
Sounds like
like
a big deal, but I'm not. I'll probably start crying after this or something about.
like yeah, I'll get a message from you later on and be like, God's sake, I'm sitting in the corner now.
We're a dark place, but I'm just telling you this.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm here for it. Okay, how can we discuss? Anywho, what's next for Maddie? What's like, you're obviously coaching now.
Yeah.
Like how do you see this going? Like what would be your dream scenario situation? Come and coach Ireland.
Oh, good question. No, I didn't see. There was two things I thought after retiring that I 100% knew. One, is I don't want to move again. I
Fair.
barely lived in my own house, so I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm done living out of the bag. And two, I don't want to coach, which is interesting. I was like, I don't think I want to coach, because part of the reason I set up my business was to have that as my way to give back to the game. But then I was like, I'm all for just leaving the sport and doing something else and going to a desk. Like that's like what I thought I needed to do. And in reality, like again, like this stuff coming to me, I think it's my path. I think I'm meant to be out here in the States with this team, with this group of girls. I think that I said that to them here. I think I'm meant to be here. I think I'm meant to have the opportunity to share everything I was so lucky to have with them. But now I'm so invested in them. Like I so desperately want them to go and have even just a percentage of what I got to experience, because I just know it's worth it for them. But then this is a challenge now to understand that they're not you and that they're still learning and they might not do it the way you do it. So it really challenges my fiery side, because I want it so much for them, but like it's a process. So I'm learning a lot in this job. Couldn't be learning more. Big thanks to David Passmore for throwing me in the deep end. I'm very much trying to learn how to swim, but I'm grateful for all of it, because I think I'm still meant to be in high performance. I think I'm meant to, like I say, share these opportunities, and we're heading towards the home Olympics, which I could be a part of from a start. Like wild, right? Like, what is happening? So I'm grateful, and I'm trying to just do the best I can every day here. And trust me, I found it really tough, but I'm just giving it my best. I'm trying to live back to those values I had as a goalkeeper. But right now, of course, when you don't have the 15 years of experience and to back it up, it's a little hard at times, and you have that chip coming in and questioning stuff. But I think I'm meant to be here. I'll give it a good crack. What'll be will be. Is coaching my long-term future? I don't know. I don't think we ever really know what we're meant to do.
No.
But I still, we had a recent tournament in Uruguay and we won it on a shootout. And God, there's something about like that buzz still. So that was a real reminder that I think I am meant to be where I'm meant to be right now. So maybe there's a future still in high performance in something else or in a different role. I'm not sure I can hit hockey balls for the rest of my life because my body is already breaking. I've got a shoulder injury. I literally was having needles in my arm yesterday. Everyone thinks it's a dancing injury from the way from hitting. So yeah, I don't know if I'll be hitting balls for long term, but I hope to be able to continue either through like MH1 stuff or through whatever I'm doing to keep giving back to this unique little superhero status people in foam. I want to constantly have that in some level. And that's the only bit I know for sure. So we'll see where life takes us.
Well, good, because we cannot lose you from the game. And if we can have you, like Maddie Hinch, staying in the weird space that we are for like 1% of your life, we need it. We'll take it. I could literally talk to you for ages, honestly. I feel like pop the kettle on, like the pair of us will just off we go.
Yeah, I've enjoyed going back to some of those spots. It's been really nice.
But Maddie, you have honestly been brilliant. You share so much wisdom, and just your honesty from your whole career has just been amazing. Literally, as I said at the start, you're an icon of, or an idol of mine. I looked up to you as I was growing up. And to be sitting here now chatting to you and have seen you around the circuit, played against you, yeah, for me, it's a real honor. And I really thank you for your time and sharing probably a very small part of your story.
I know, but I'm old. I keep saying it. I'm pretty old. But no, big thanks to you guys as well. Like also to OBE and for you for doing it. I know this stuff must take a hell of a lot of work. And like, yeah, we're a very small part of already a very small sport. So this stuff I think is awesome. And if I think back to when I was starting, if I could have been listening to conversations like this and looking up to these people, and wow, like it would have been awesome. So yeah, keep up the good work and thanks for having me on.
Of course. Well, as Maddie just said, big shout out to OBE. Again, wouldn't be happening without them. This is the last one in the Unboxing the Goalkeeper series, part 1. You never know what's going to be around the corner, so stay tuned. Maddie, we might have you back round 2. We'll go at this again. But if you guys loved listening to all the goalkeepers that have been on, make sure you can go back, you can listen again, listen to all the other episodes of Unboxed. And while you're at it, make sure you subscribe, follow, and do whatever you want on the socials. But until next time, stay brave and stay unboxed.